How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Fans POV, where I talk about my two favorite sports, the UFC and the NBA. Right now, I'm going to talk about a very touchy subject. I'm probably going to get death threats. People in the comments are probably going to call me stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I ain't scared of you. Khabib Nurmagomedov is not my GOAT, and he shouldn't be yours either, and I'm going to tell you why. When I look at Khabib, all that I am left with is a sour taste in my mouth. And the reason why I say that is because he quit during his prime. If you ask me, a true warrior goes out on a shield, right? The Spartans had a famous line: you better come back holding your shield or on it, which meant you better come back alive, winning the battle, or you better come back dead. That's what Khabib should have done. I believe that if you're a true warrior, if you're a true fighter, you go out there and you fight until you no longer can, until somebody proves that they are better than you. Then you can retire. Then you can do so. Once somebody has proven that they're better. Because if you have a true competitive spirit, if you have a true competitive nature, you never want to stop. And granted, that can take an ugly side. If you look at Conor McGregor, his competitive spirit is ungodly. He just can't keep up with it. He's not good enough. But Khabib Nurmagomedov was in his prime and he let that all go. Now, I understand he had his reasonings. I get it. But I'm talking strictly the fight game. All right, I'm not talking about anything outside of it. Khabib walked away during his prime, which left a lot to be desired. There was a lot of fights we didn't get to see. A lot of rematches we didn't get to see, which I'm going to get into that. But Khabib Nurmagomedov ultimately disappointed the fans. Disappointed the entire UFC world by leaving. Because if you're that dominant, you need to stay. You need to prove you're that dominant against everybody and anybody until the day you're not, then you can go. Now, let's compare him to some of the people we call the GOAT as well, right? Guys like Stipe, Jon Jones, Kamaru Usman, GSP, all these guys, first of all, they have complete studs in their resume. They have beat absolute monsters. Not to say Khabib hasn't, but when I compared both resumes, theirs looked a lot better. Not going to lie to you. Theirs looked a lot better. But the reason why I bring those guys up is for one specific reason. The rematches. Khabib never had any. Against the top three guys, if you go look down the list of his opponents, the top three guys that he faced, which were Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, and Dustin Poirier, he did not rematch any of those guys. Which leaves me thinking, could he have beat them a second time? Now, that's not for me to decide. We will never know, right? But I do know that there are certain things you pick up fighting somebody during a fight in person that you can't pick up in film. And I promise you, I guarantee you that Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, there were things they noticed about Khabib during the octagon, during the fight, that they could have never noticed watching a video. So who's to say the second time around it wouldn't have been different? We'll never know because he didn't prove it. I can question it. You know what I can't question? I cannot question DC being better than Jon Jones because he beat him twice. I can't question Alexander Gustafsson being better than Jon Jones because Jon Jones beat him twice. I cannot question Jorge Masvidal or Colby Covington being better than Kamaru Usman because he beat them twice. I cannot question Stipe being worse than DC because he beat him twice. And obviously, we're going to see Stipe with the trilogy of Ngannou, which that's going to be amazing. But you see what I'm saying? There's a trend with the all-time greats. There's a trend with the people we call GOATs. They beat the same opponents multiple times. Now, the reason why you do this is because, in my opinion, there's a rule. If you beat a guy one night, you're the better man that night. If you beat him twice, you're the better man in general. But you have to beat him twice. You have to show that you can do it multiple times. Otherwise, I can question it. Look what I'm doing right now. If Khabib would have just beat even one of those guys, if Khabib would have just rematched any one of those three that I mentioned, Dustin Poirier, Conor, or Justin, I wouldn't be making this video. Because he would have proved to me that he can beat those level guys more than once. You don't have to do it with every top fighter in your division. I understand that always can't happen. I understand you can't always rematch every single fighter that you face. I get that. If Khabib would have just done it to one, if he would have just beat Conor McGregor twice, I would have been able to say, you know what? He could probably beat everybody on that level. Twice. But he didn't. I'm not going to give him the credit for it, and neither should you. There are other guys that we consider GOATs who have done more than Khabib. Why does Khabib get that pedestal? And again, I like Khabib. I think he's a great role model. He's a great fighter. He's a good dude. But to call him the GOAT? When you have guys like John Jones, Kamaru Usman, GSP, Anderson Silva. Come on, man. I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me good. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, maybe drop a comment. I might hit you back. As a matter of fact, I have 2 other YouTube channels that you might enjoy, and they're going to be linked in the description below. The first is called A Man's POV, where I talk about philosophical concepts and societal issues that we face every single day. The second YouTube channel is called An Idiot's POV, where I look at dumb little things on the internet that I find interesting and I react to them. So if you're interested in those, go watch them. I will be waiting for you with open arms and kisses. But if you don't like those kind of things, if you want to stay here for the sports talk, there will be more content coming soon. As always, have a great day and take care.